Hello everyone, welcome to another repair video. So in this video today we're going to be working on a PS4 Slim which has been sent in by a friend of mine for no display, and this friend slash customer has said that her boyfriend was using it just fine and then all of a sudden it just won't display anything on the screen. So this is going to be down to one of two things usually. It's either going to be down to the hard drive or it's going to be down to the MN864729 HDMI Encoder IC. So either way I thought it'd make for an interesting video, so let's first of all pair it on, see what's happening, and then we can see what we can do with this console and try and make it a happy healthy console once again. So let's take a power cable, pop that in there, and a HDMI lead. There we go. And is this not plugged in? No. I unplugged it to plug in a Xbox One power brick. Right, bear with me. There we go. Okay, let's power it on. 3, 2, 1. Nothing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Not a healthy sound from the disk drive. Or it could be the hard drive. That's not good. Right, okay. That sounds like a hard drive sound to me. Right, we've got a white light straight away. But there's absolutely no display from the screen at all. So the first thing I'm going to do is just check the hard drive. So let's unplug it. Let's pop off the hard drive cover. And well, let's first unscrew it, that might help. So there's a Phillips screw on the side, I keep forgetting about that screw. Well, there's a Phillips screw rather at the back, sorry, that we need to remove. It's kind of like a thumb screw. It's like a really flat-headed Phillips screw. pH 0 gets it off, gets it out absolutely fine, and then we can just lift up the hard drive. Oh, okay. There's no hard drive in it. What? Okay, so that's obviously a disk drive issue then, but how the hell am I supposed to test it without the hard drive? Right, I'm going to message my friend and ask what's going on with the hard drive. Right, okay, so while I wait for my friend to reply, I'm going to pop my own hard drive in. Right, okay, so I'll pop a hard drive of my own in just to test. Actually, while I'm doing this, oh, actually, never mind. I can probably just pop it straight through there. Oh no, it's a different caddy. Never mind. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to copy the PS4 software over. Right, so that's copying over through USB. Let's take this hard drive out of here. This is a non-good hard drive, so we can use this one for testing. And if there's no other display issue apart from this, see, I don't know the history of this. I mean, yes, it's. My friend has said that he was playing it and then it just suddenly got no display, but that could mean absolutely anything. Maybe he brought it like this and it's got no display. I don't know. Some people do buy them and then send them to me for repair. Maybe that's what they've done. I don't know. But I'm gonna be a bit annoyed if it's just a hard drive. Right, so that software's copied over. Okay, got ourselves a hard drive. Right, let's pop it in. Let's turn it back on. Yeah, so that's a disk drive fault for sure. It did sound like it was coming from the hard drive area, but that's probably because the hard drive was empty. And the sound's travelling through it. I don't know. Either way though, that's not picking up, is it? So we've got a white light, but nothing on the screen. Okay. Let me plug it into my other monitor just to double check, because this monitor sometimes, well, it doesn't like certain PS4s. So let's plug it into my other monitor, and I'll just make sure that it's not the monitor that's causing it. Nope, still getting no display from the monitor. That's just flicking on over from analog to PS4, analog to HDMI. Okay, so definitely no display. Just give the HDMI cable a little wiggle. Yep, nothing. Okay, cool. Unplug that. Plug my monitor back in so I can see what I'm doing. And there we go. So there's my monitor back in. Right. So, what could this be? So the main causes of a no display are either the hard drive, which we've ruled that out because that's a non-good hard drive. So we've ruled out the hard drive. The next thing we need to rule out is the HDMI port itself. Now, is the HDMI port physically damaged? And it's not. So that looks absolutely perfect in there. No damage, no bent pins. So the next thing to check is going to be the EMI filters. Now the EMI filters are responsible for just kind of like cancelling noise on the HDMI circuit. So removing noise from the HDMI circuit, and basically it's just a coil of wire. And sometimes they can blow. Now if they read as continuous between the top and the bottom of the filter, and they don't read as continuous between one filter and the one next to it, then the chances are they're good. However, if they read as shorted from one filter to the next, it could mean either the filter or it could mean the HDMI encoder chip, the MN864729. So the easiest way to diagnose whether it's going to be the chip or the filter is to take the filter off first, because that's easier to remove than the chip is, and then test and see if we still have a short between one point and another. That's the best thing to do. Right, okay, so let's start off by removing some of these screws, or all of these screws rather, and I'll fast forward through this because there are a lot of screws that we need to remove in order to get to this motherboard. There we go. Right. Cool. That is disassembled to the point where the motherboard can now be lifted out. Yep, this has definitely had fresh thermal paste recently. Port looks good though. Excellent. Right, let's move the rest of the console out of the way. Okie doke. So, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my multimeter. And the multimeter is in diode mode. And diode mode is also continuity mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just test for continuity mode, test for continuity between the top and bottom of the EMI filter, and also to make sure that it's not shorted to the one next to it, and also to make sure they're not shorted to ground. Right, okay, so if we take a look at this circuit here, we can see that we have a big chip here. This is the MN864729 HDMI Encoder IC, and the HDMI signals come into this chip here. Processed by the encoder IC, and then they're sent out to these EMI filters. So that's these four little doohickeys here, and that filters out noise, and then it gets sent out to the HDMI and then processed by the TV. So the most common thing to go on these when it's not the hard drive is either one of these filters here, which breaks the HDMI circuit, or this chip here, which prevents the video and audio signals from passing through to the HDMI. So we're going to check for continuity between the top and the bottom of each of these. So there's two filters on each of these little components. We check for continuity between the top and the bottom. That should have continuity. And then we check for continuity between either the top or the bottom and the one next to it. It doesn't matter which one. That shouldn't have continuity. And also check either the top or the bottom for continuity to ground, and it shouldn't be continuous to ground. That would have a direct short to ground. If it has a short to ground, then the only way possible is through this chip, or somewhere further back. If it doesn't have a short to ground but it's got continuity between the two filters, then it could be down to the filter or it could be down to the chip. So it's just about doing a bit of detective work and figuring out what's actually causing the problem. Now, of course, if we do have continuity between points where we shouldn't, then the first and foremost thing that we're going to do is take the filter off, because it's easier to take the filter off. It requires a lot less heat than it does to take the HDMI encoder IC off, which is this little thing here. So we're going to do that now. We're going to check for continuity, and I'll try and get you in a little bit closer. Okay, so I've got this set, because of the zoom level, I've got this set to manual focus. So right now I've got the multimeter turned on and set to continuity mode. That's the mode that will go beep when we complete the circuit. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to probe the point on the top and the bottom of these EMI filters and just check for continuity between the top and the bottom first of all. And the top has continuity, and we don't have continuity to the one next to it. That one's fine. And we don't have a short to ground. So now we're just going to go across all of them and do the same. Excellent. And that EMI filter has a short to ground on the very last filter. So filter number 8 is shorted to ground. So I'm going to say that the reason that's shorted to ground is because of this chip here. There's no other path to ground unless there's a bridge on the solder joint, and honestly the solder joints on the actual port itself look absolutely perfect. It looks like this has never been changed, so I'm going to lean towards this chip here being the culprit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this on the blue mat, I'm going to take this chip off, and then we'll see if we can figure out, then we'll see if there's still a short there at the end of it. So join me on the mat and we'll get started. Right, okay, so here we are on the bench and we're ready to take this chip off and get a replacement installed. So what we're going to do first of all is I'm just going to preheat the board a little bit. So I'm just going to work my way around the board with some heat. I've got the temperature set to 480 degrees and the airflow is set to 8808. Your airflow may vary, of course, depending on the heat gun that you're using. But I'm just going to work my way across the board and just heat up the general area. Okay, so now I'm going to apply some flux. And I'm going to start coming closer in, ready to remove this chip. There we go, beautiful, that came off beautiful. Okay, so apologies for the background noise here. I'm just waiting for the heat gun to cool down so it can turn itself off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the multimeter again in continuity mode, and I'm just going to check this filter again to make sure that we don't have a short to ground. So no short to ground on any of those filters now. Excellent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the soldering iron. I'm going to apply some more flux to the area. And I'm just going to replace this solder with some leaded solder just to lower the melting temperature. And that's going to help prepare the area for a new chip So all I'm going to do is I've got a fairly big tip on the soldering iron, because these suck up an awful lot of heat. I'm just going to angle this so I can actually get it better. Pre-applying some solder onto the tip. And just run across all of these pads with some leaded solder. Beautiful. There we go. So no solder bridges from what I can see there. So now I'm going to take a brand new MN864729. Sorry, an MN864729. I was thinking about the original encoder IC from the original boards. That's an MN864729A. This one's the 729. So it's a newer version. I'm just going to get this chip roughly in place there. And then use hot air again to solder this on. So I'll just add a little bit of pressure now to the middle of the chip. Okay. Got a bit more flux. Beautiful. So now what I want to do, while that board's still warm, is I just want to run over all of those pads with the soldering iron and just make sure that there's no solder bridges there. Beautiful. And now I'm just going to give the area a clean. So the best way I've found to clean is to use the heat gun to apply some heat, because flux cleans up a lot easier with when it's warm. And then just some isopropyl alcohol on a scrubbing brush. Just gentle scrubbing, not too hard. Beautiful. And now let's just give it a wipe down. If you're wondering why I'm using tissue instead of cotton swabs, it's because I've run out, and so has the local shop. So unfortunately I can't get it at the minute. They did say they was going to get me some for the end of the day, so fingers crossed. And this is literally the last cotton swab in my tub, which I'm going to use to just clean up the edges of the chip, because I want to be able to inspect it on an angle under the microscope and make sure that it's actually soldered and that it's not bridged. There we go, that is the last cotton swab in my collection. Okay, so I just realised you couldn't see me doing the cleaning there, so I apologise for that. But that's what we're looking like at the moment. So that chip appears to be on there straight. But I need to inspect it under the microscope on an angle, just make sure that it is actually straight, and then we can get to testing. Okay, ladies and gents, so here we are back on the bench, and we're pretty much ready to test now. So as you can see, we've soldered the MN864729 HDMI Encoder IC. This is, like I said, usually responsible for no image, so we should be good to go with this console. So I'll just take the chassis, and I'm going to change the thermal paste, just because it's been going all over my hands and stuff, and it's all out of place, and I'd rather just put fresh thermal paste on, that way I haven't got to take it back apart when it does overheat. Alright, so we'll get that old thermal paste off. Let's get the old thermal paste off the APU as well. And I've just found out why the hard drive's been taken out of this. Apparently it needs changing, so what I'm going to have to do with this, I think, is install my own hard drive, install the software just so I can verify everything working. As I said, this is a friend's console, so I'm going to try and repair the disk drive at the same time, and hopefully I can sort out that noise that it's got. I'm going to say that it's probably something to do with the laser being out of place or something, or the motor not spinning properly. But I'll certainly have a look and see what happens. Okay, so let's get some new thermal paste, and let's apply the perfect amount. Let's see how many arguments we can cause in the comments for the perfect amount of thermal paste. And I'm going to spread it across. I'm not scraping away at the APU. I say this in all the videos, but I'm not scraping this APU. Please do not scrape your APU. I'm not even touching the APU, in fact. I'm literally just going over it and trying to get it as even as possible. And then obviously tension on the APU will get it spread out completely. So there we go. Doesn't matter that there's a bit of overspill, that's fine. Like I said, as soon as I put the plate on, it's going to overflow anyway. Okie doke, so let's just get that in place. Good to go with that, so let me take a HDMI cable. Okay. Oh god. Okay, let's turn it on. 3, 2, 1. Still got that disk drive issue, as expected. And hopefully you can see that. But that's picked up on the screen. Now, of course, this is my own hard drive, so it's going to need a reinstallation before we can actually get the PS4 to power on properly. There we go, that's it, all good. So, cannot start the PS4, connect the DualShock 4 using the USB cable, and then press the PS button. Reason for that is because there's no software installed. That's great news. That means that we've actually got this working, and changing the HDMI encoder IC has obviously solved the issue. So, let's flick back over to the main screen. There we go. I'm so glad you could see that, even if it was only slight. Okay, so let's pop back onto the console. So that's great news, of course. So now what I want to do, before I put this thing back together, I want to take a quick look at the disk drive. I want to see if there's anything that I can actually do for it in terms of sorting that noise out. I have spoken to the owner of the console, or the owner's girlfriend rather. The owner's girlfriend is my friend. I've spoken to the owner's girlfriend and told her that there's an issue with the disk drive, and told her I'll try and sort it out for her. I'm not going to charge her for it, mate rates and all of that stuff. This is a parts only job. So yeah, let's see if we can sort this disk drive out, shall we? Right, yo. Let's just lift this up. Absolutely hate these disk drives in these PS4s, but never mind. Right, okay. Let's pop this ribbon out. So that was aligned in the middle of the mechanism, which I've got a feeling that it's probably stuck. but we'll see. I mean, that seems okay. Seems to move fairly freely. The gears seem fine. Yeah, I think it might need a new mechanism, to be honest. I'll probably advise. Because here's the thing, like, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to sit here and replace this entire laser. Not going to happen. Way too finicky to do that. I've done a few before and I just don't enjoy the job at all. So if I'm going to replace the disk drive in the future, then it's going to be an entire mechanism job. 20 quid you can get it done, not a big issue. Yeah, it's just one of them, like, it's just not worth sitting there for hours, or well, sitting there for around about an hour to replace just the laser and things. I think it's going to be an entire disk drive job. They're not too difficult to replace when it's the entire disk drive. So I'll advise on that. I've got a feeling maybe there's something wrong with this motor, and that's probably why it's getting stuck. That's what it sounds like, at least. So yeah, you know, I'm just not gonna. What am I doing here? It might help if I actually put it in the right. Put it back in the right way. For a start. Goes that way. Laser facing downwards. This clip here facing the top. These ribbons can be a little bit finicky. Yeah, I was hoping it was just you know, one of these gears had come out of place, but you know, then I could rebuild the gears, possibly replace the gears, but the gears, it looks like there's nothing wrong with them. So I mean, I have known it just by taking that off and just putting it back on, it realigns it, but you know, that's not usually the case. So these are a little bit of a nightmare, these stickers. It's best to leave the sticker on the actual ribbon, because that way then you know you're not going to, you know, pull it out too far and it's not going to have enough play for the mechanism to move backwards and forwards. But it also means that you can move it not freely, but free-ish, to be able to get it back on. Sometimes it's easy just to take this out and put it back on and then put it all back in as one unit. I think that's what I'm going to do. A bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest. I'm trying not to touch the laser with my fingers, just for the record. You'll notice the way I'm holding that with my fingers on the edges. I'm not touching anywhere near the middle. Cool. Okay, so let's reassemble this, shall we? There we go. Right, time for the motherboard. Cool. Make sure that's in place. I'm going to connect that up now before I forget. Let's not connect those up because we're going to put the plate on. Heatsink shield. Right, let me get a smaller screwdriver because that one's too big. That's better. Okay, let's get the hard drive. Sorry, the top tray. That's slightly warped. That is. A bit of persuasion around by the hard drive should get it back into place. Okay, we are done. Right, so I lost one screw, but that's not too much of a big deal. I dropped one screw while I was putting them in and I can't seem to find it. So never mind, I don't have any replacement screws. Well, I've got replacement screws, but I haven't got the black screws, and I dropped one black screw. So that's a bit of a sod's law for you, but there you go, never mind. Right, so I'll put my own hard drive in. So what I need to do now is I need to copy the software over to a USB, and then it's just a matter of getting it all up and running so we can obviously test it and things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a USB dock. So I'm going to use my hard drive dock, and I'm just going to use a normal hard drive as an external drive because I don't have my USB dongle here, it's in the house, and I can't be bothered to go and get it because I'm lazy. So there you go. So let's switch over to desktop view. Plug in my external hard drive. There we go. Right, so this is a Xbox drive, which I'm using. So I'm going to type in disk part, and I'm just going to quickly format the disk. There we go. Let's use FAT32. Oh no, let's use XFAT. XFAT. I'm so sad. There we go. Right, so let's get the PS4 software and just drag it over. And you'll see we've got the PS4 update file. I think that's the latest version. While we're doing that, I'm going to plug this console in. Okay, that is done. That's why I like using external drives for this. Plug them into the PS4. And let's turn it on. Oh no, let's change the HDMI, and I'll flick you over to this screen here. So unplug that and take the HDMI lead. So just joining the HDMI with my little quick split thing and turning it on in 3, 2, 1. And yeah, that's definitely going to need a new disk drive. Never mind. Right, okay. Okay, so let's just connect up a PS4 controller. And I don't have version 6.51, so right, I'm gonna have to check with this. I'm gonna have to make sure it's okay to update. So I'll double check, make sure that it's okay to update, and then I'll come back to it. Alright, so I've just got confirmation to update this to version 7.5. So let's get it updated, shall we? Okay, so let's run through the setup wizard and let's get this installed. Let's make sure Wi-Fi works. There we go. Excellent. If you want my Wi-Fi password, now is the time. This password is not used for anything else, by the way. It's literally the Wi-Fi password to my house. That is it. That's why I don't care about anyone seeing it. I mean, what are people going to do really with just a Wi-Fi password? Apart from sit outside my house and piggyback my internet, pretty much nothing. Okay, so for some reason time and date is incorrect. So it is 12th the 5th 2020, and it is 8:03 PM. There we go. Confirm, accept, and done. Excellent. So the disk drive isn't working. Obviously I haven't managed to fix that. The gears look okay. I doubt very much it's the roller because it is actually sucking discs in. But other than that, I would say it's probably the motor. Right, let me add my profile, make sure it's not PSN banned, as I do with all consoles. So this part I will obviously skip. Okay, so that's signed in okay, which means that this console isn't console banned. Not that it would matter anyway, because this is obviously a repair for a friend. So it's nothing to do with me if it is banned. It's just always nice to make the person aware if it is. But yeah, this all appears to be working fine. Wi-Fi is working. It's not getting too hot. I mean, obviously we're not playing a game, but we could download YouTube and or we could download a game actually. So let's have a look at games. Let's see what we can download. Free to play. Warzone. I mean, it's going to take way too long to download a game, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I mean, it shouldn't overheat. It's had fresh thermal pads. It's had fresh thermal paste. The fan is completely clean. It should be absolutely fine. So it appears like everything's working. Yeah, okay. It's absolutely fine. I'll take my hard drive out of this. But of course, that's pretty much it. That's all that's left to do on this. It's just to take my own hard drive out of it and let my friend put her hard drive back in. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. Hopefully this video helps you to solve some of your issues with the PS4 or the PS4 Slim in particular. As always, leave a like on the video if you liked it. Please subscribe. It really does help out the channel a lot. I'm working very, very hard to get content out there as much as I can. And around 95% of viewers are not subscribed, so it would help the channel out a massive amount if you do subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye for now.